Hi again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Charger 360, telling the stories of the University of New Haven. I'm J.W. Stewart, joined as always by Bruce Barber. Bruce, how you doing?
I'm doing so well, and I think this is such an important story to tell. I'm just so excited about this.
Yeah, this is going to be hard to top this one, that's for sure. Our guest today is Marcus Harvin. Marcus graduated as part of the inaugural class of UNH's Prison Education Program and the Yale Prison Education Initiative. Marcus is now enrolled as a student here at UNH, pursuing his degree in interdisciplinary studies. Marcus, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a privilege.
It's a privilege for us, and I think it's going to be a privilege for the viewing audience to hear your story. And you talk about darkness into the light. This is your story. So normally we would ask, all right, you know, some simple questions and where you're from and all this stuff, but we'll get right into it. I want you to start your story at the beginning, because there's so much we got to get to here in our 15 minutes together. Where are you from, and before you got to UNH, what path were you on?
So I'm from New Haven, Connecticut, really Newhaltville, the neighborhood in New Haven. But my route to University of New Haven was alternative. It's funny, I grew up in New Haven, which is maybe just a few minutes away from here, 5 minutes from here, 10 minutes where I'm actually was born and raised, but I actually got to this university by way of 1153 East Street South, Suffield, Connecticut, 06080. That is McDougall Walker Correctional Institution, where this great university and Yale University partnered to bring a prison education program. And I am the beneficiary of such a blessing as that. I started college right after high school in 2006. Decided that I wanted to major in partying, and that institution didn't really like to enroll students for a degree in partying, so they parted ways, you know, very early, maybe after my, after 2.5 years. But then I went to sales, right, and thought I was gonna make it in that, went to prison. Then when I went to prison, I got into the industry of peopling, right, ascribing value and dignity back to people. So that's where I came from. I came from a place where people are deprived of what God gave them, and I went with a mission to give them back what God gave them. And I'm here getting what God has for me, and that is all of these blessings, right? This blessing by way of education. So I'm able to make good on a promise I made to my late grandmother, Sally Mae Harvin, who passed away February 15, 2021, a year and 90 days before I came home. She fought for 5 years to stay alive for me. And unfortunately, she had to tell my mom to let me know she couldn't, the fight had to stop. But it made me believe more in myself. If someone is willing to put themselves through dialysis 5 days a week and in and out of intensive care to stay alive for you, you gotta be somebody, right? And now I get an opportunity because of this great university, because of Yale University, and most of all because of the grace of God and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, to undo the narratives that the world has heard about me, right? And now I've been given proverbially permanent marker from the Creator. And He's allowing me to rewrite my narrative in a way that no one can write over it or erase it. So I came to this place from a hard place, but now this place is helping to make life easier.
And we all, you know, everybody I speak with who has been working with you, you're a rock star around here. From basically, we're getting to experience the really positive part of your story, but this comes from a very, very difficult place. And you sharing that difficult story, I think is, it leads to inspiration for people. So I know it's gotta be difficult, but you've been kind enough to say that you're willing to share, you know, the very difficult beginnings of the story that has ended up being a real success.
Certainly. The most difficult part about it is before prison, the role and identity aspect that I've taken most pride in was being a father, right? And I failed for a few seconds and almost caused my kids their whole life, right? Almost caused myself my whole life. But then in that moment, I drew back to my childhood, where I grew up in church, born and raised in church. It's been prophesied over me since I was newly into the world, that I was gonna be a preacher, that I was gonna be a pastor, that I would help thousands, millions, all of these things, right? But I wanted to get there through my own way. I don't wanna learn God because you guys said it. then I don't want to be a preacher because you guys think I should be. But that landed me in a bunch of package stores, bars, and all of these things, doing things that are unseemly for a person like me and unbecoming for a person like myself, right? Not saying that I'm better than anybody, but I'm a person that if I'm gonna do something, I do it and do it. That's why you guys see the nonprofits and the, dean's list and all of that stuff, because I believe in putting your all into something. And that can go both ways, right? It can go negative or positive. So I was able to still succeed, but did a little too much fun, right? A little too much playing. And it ended up me in a position, those that entrust me with their lives and God entrusted me, I almost, caused their demise. But from that demise, God is bringing up destiny, and I'm able to make good on the promises I made to my children, that I would always be there for them, that I would make a way for their lives to be easier. And in the moment, briefly, I wanted to tell you guys, when we got into the car accident, we landed in a swimming pool. This never happens. We don't need to really pick up our Bibles much, right? Because if you believe in God, you can see him everywhere. You can see him now. Jonah got swallowed up from a fish because he was hard-headed in the days of the Bible, when the Bible was written. Marcus landed in a swimming pool because he didn't want to listen. I knew from my inception on this earth what I was supposed to do. I wanted to fool around and do it my way, and then look what happened. Got swallowed up, spit in my Nineveh, which was a prison, right, to do what God told me to do the whole time. But I could have just done that from the beginning and not caused my children what happened, right? But through the grace of God, they don't have the traumas that people would naturally have in those situations. Through prayer, through just tough conversations, right? They've gotten over that, and they see it more of the fact that they're here for a reason, opposed to why did that happen to me. And that's how I look at life. I thank God that that's part of me that they got, right? That I don't really look anymore like, why would I have to go to prison? I'd look like, wow, you chose me to go through all of that and have placed something in me to be able to use all this junk to make something so, justly, something so beautiful. And I don't know, I just went on a little tangent, but I wanted to share that with you guys.
No, that's great.
I can guarantee we're going over the 15-minute time limit today, and I'm okay with that. So you drive drunk, your two daughters, two young kids are in the car with you, car flips over, end up in a swimming pool. Everyone's lucky to be alive. Sentenced to 14 and a half years in prison. You're up in Suffield, as you mentioned before, and that's where you encountered the Prison Education Program. How did that program, the joint venture between UNH and Yale, help you, and what classes were you taking in prison?
This program has helped me, and before we got on air, I said this is like not just a life-changing program. That would be too demeaning to it, right? That's belittling to something like this. This is like an organism, it's a mechanism, right, that has the power and potency and potential to change the world. If it could do this for me in 20 months, what could it do for other people? What could it just do for the world, right? If you just give other guys opportunities, or if other schools do what people do and mimic, right? Imagine how this world could be. Recidivism won't be reality, right? People will have opportunities to exercise their own independent excellence, right? You get these liberal arts degrees to learn life, to learn a lot about a lot, so that you can then find what makes you tick. I've been knew what made me tick, right? This just gave me resources, right? And the only reason why I joined this program was because UNH joined this program. Before UNH joined this program, there was no degree to get, right? Zelda, she's like God's gift to the world to me. Next to my children, my mom, my fiance, I've got to put her like right there.
So explain who Zelda is.
Zelda Rowland is the, and my grandmother, but Zelda Rowland is the founding director of the Yale Prison Education Initiative. And she found Mike Rossi here, who I love that guy. I love everybody here, but it's like specifically people like him, Bradley Woodworth and Dean Baker and Dean Allen and you. Like, you guys just, this is just literally, you guys are the embodiment of what the opportunities we had were in there. Otherworldly, right? It doesn't happen. We're getting the best minds to come in the worst place. Just think about it. It's a no-brainer. If you hear Yale and you hear UNH and you hear you have the opportunity, it doesn't cost you anything. Think about it. It's free. You get out the cell. That's enough right there. Free and freedom. Come on now, for a prisoner. You don't have money and you definitely don't have freedom. So for me, it was a no-brainer. But more seriously, before my grandmother passed, she started to take me to task about going back to school. she always told me I was supposed to have a degree. I was supposed to be the one to set an example for everybody. Even though I'm not the oldest, she just seen something in me that would pull those things that God placed in the rest out, right? So she says, there's something to this thing with you, right? I've helped people get life sentences overturned without like a formal legal education. I learned the law by trial by fire, and God threw this guy in the cell with me like a month removed from the sentence I got. He had 55 years. About to go up for appeal. Mom has no more money. They spent $75,000 on a trial lawyer. He lost. God puts him in a cell with me because somebody told him that I knew the law. I'm like, I don't really know that I know the law, and if I do, I don't know if I know it to the degree that you might need me to know it, because that's murder. However, I know the Lord, right? I don't know the law like that at that moment, but I know the Lord, and he is it of all things. So I pray, put work behind that. We start studying from sun up to sundown. Bible first, law next, right? Make a long story short, my mom worked for the Board of Ed. She would overnight case laws like maybe once or twice a week. Not for me, for him. The way I looked at it is I had 14 years, right? He had 55. Let's do quick math. I had 41 years less than him. So that means if I had to do all that time, I'd still be able to run, jump, and do all these things. He might be in a pine box, right? Because he was in his 30s. So I'm thinking, what could you do to help this guy? And the Bible tells us, right, if we help somebody, God will help us. But even if God didn't help me, I'm still more help than him, right? So I'm like, okay, let's figure this out. We start studying, we start doing this, we start taking notes, and I tell him, all right, I'm gonna write these things down, and you send it on to a lawyer. He got blessed with a public defender, right? The state has to give you one. So he gets a public defender, gives the notes that we took, right? That I took and that he wrote and I wrote, gives it to the lawyer. She puts everything from those notes into his brief. He gets his case overturned on direct appeal with a public defender.
Wow.
Couldn't get it on trial with a $75,000 plus lawyer, but got it with this guy who didn't really know the law. But so my grandmom, right, she kept seeing me help other people. I helped people that did not speak English, but they made them stand, allowed them to take pleas without interpreters. I helped them to get their cases back in court. And I'm not charging anybody, right? I'm just literally helping because I can, right? So as I'm doing this, I'm also taking classes and I'm doing all of these different things, right? But my grandma, I became a paralegal in prison. I was doing classes through the mail. So my grandma, I'm like, oh, you can't stop there. You're helping these people. You got to go back to school. You got to get that degree, baby. And I'm like, all right, I don't want to do it, but you keep pressing me, so I'm going to do it. Made the promise to her. She decides to leave Earth before I could say I was just playing. So now I seen the opportunity for the third cohort for the Yale Prison Education come up. But this time the flyer was different because it has UNH there, and now you can get an associate's degree. And there's also an opportunity potentially at that point for a bachelor's degree. You're in prison, why would you not do this? Especially a guy who went to college, a guy who everybody just knew would have all of these degrees and do all of these things. You have the opportunity now. Even though you're not where you want to be, this is actually what you need to be doing. Do it. I did it. This guy made a makeshift necklace for me with my grandmother's picture on it, so I would wear it every day. And I went up to do the interview, right? And it was with Zelda and it was with Sarah Maheron. She's a dean at Yale. Two tough women to interview with, right? But on my way up the stairs, I kissed my grandmother's picture and I said, let's do this. Kissed it, went up there, did it, got in the program, and now look, I'm a fellow at Yale with YPEI. Through this fellowship, I've been able to help co-facilitate undergraduate courses that were 4 credit classes without me even having a degree. I've been able to serve as a professor assistant for the Divinity School, which is a graduate program, and I hadn't even had an associate's at that point. And I was just like 3 or 4 months removed from prison, 5 months home from prison. Yale Divinity did a presentation on me. So now I'm in their archives forever from a Bible study that I started in prison. They were that intrigued by it that they did a monologue on it. I was able to be a part of it, speak in it, and my brother, my mom's other son, he's a local rapper, Bugatti 203. Dante Harvin's his real name. He wrote songs when I was in prison about the pain that he was experiencing. He got to perform those at Yale Divinity with me.
Wow.
I'm also a fellow at Yale Law School. So these things have just opened up so many opportunities for me. And now the president of my own nonprofit. So if I would have said no, none of these things would be happening, right? Yeah. And you guys might be at this table talking about me, but it'll be about the dumb thing that I did in 2014, right? Or allegedly did, right? Opposed to the wise things that I'm doing today. Mm-hmm. But it's because of people like you guys, right? Because you guys make up this community that then makes decisions for the community that I was in, right? And now these guys get to call me, and I get to brag about what I'm doing here, like becoming the MLK Scholarship Award winner a couple weeks ago, right? And MLK has been my role model since I was like a little kid. I told my mom when I get older, I'm gonna be like him. University of New Haven thinks I'm a little bit like him, right? So
Wow.
this is all full circle, right?
Yeah, so I think this is the perfect segue. You're an ordained minister, and we do have a little video of you delivering a sermon. So should we have a look at that?
Let's take a look at the video of Marcus in action.
Write what they say about you. You want to pretty much have your eulogy written out for those that's going to have to read it. But that's through your good deeds. We're not going to put these markers on a piece of paper. We're going to put them in the atmosphere. We're going to create a better reality for everybody. And it starts with feeding people who don't have food. Jesus took a little boy's lunch and fed thousands. Marcus, Adam, Marcus, Cynthia, Destiny, and I don't want to say your name, Michelle, you right there. We're going to take universities' food. We're going to take Haven's Harvest food. We're going to take restaurants' food, and we're going to create feasts for the forgotten. And when we serve these feasts to the forgotten, we're going to act like they have not been forgotten. We're going to act like they're the most important person in the world. Because guess what? If you could have a conversation face to face with God, he'd tell you they were. Because my faith tells me that his son died for each and every one of those people, right? And if you ascribe to faith, you too should believe that that person is as important as you. And if you read the Bible says he's supposed to or she's supposed to be more important than you. Esteem your brother higher than yourself, right? So we're going to give those who have low self-esteem a high confidence in themselves, right? And it starts with feeding them.
It's a very powerful message, Marcus, that you're talking about your nonprofit. Tell us about the nonprofit and the fact that, what it is you're doing to try to help feed people in New Haven.
So my nonprofit is actually, I make jokes this way, and term it as like a grandchild of University of New Haven, because what it is a byproduct of my fellowship here, the President's Public Service Fellowship that I did this past summer. And I was blessed to service the community I came up in, New Hallville. I was working with Neighborhood Housing Services of New Haven, and they are stationed in New Hallville. Literally, they have a community garden in Ivy Street right across the street from my elementary school. That's how I started going over there and cleaning it up. So I'm like, you know what? Everybody keeps saying, like, it's going full circle. Life is starting back over for you, all right? So what does that mean? Let's do something, right? So we create something called New Hallville Fresh Starts, right? If everything keeps starting over, I get a restart. Let's give everybody a restart. I want to be the mechanism that affords the people that can't afford the resources to become what they want, to afford it to them, right? I've been blessed to get all of these connections through the things that I've been able to do, through opportunities and capitalizing on those opportunities by taking them serious. So now those opportunities become resources. So then now the person becomes the resource. So New Hallville Fresh Starts is a resource, right? An all-encompassing mechanism for those that don't have but want to be, right? So that's what we are. And FRESH quickly stands for formerly relegated, now exhibiting success and honor. I like dressing, right? So fresh might appear to be, but it's being great. That's what it is. So it's affording those that need it with what they need to be great.
And to leave us, it really is just so inspirational. I'm just really interested in knowing what's next for you.
So what's next is I'll be going to law school after I graduate from here, but what's next for Fresh Starts is we're going to be pioneering, from what I know, like the nation's first liberal arts program for youth. Grades 5 through 12, we're starting a debate program with National Prison Debate League and the Yale Urban Debate League. We're going to teach civic engagement and the value of one's voice through debate. And also to afford children from underserved communities with another avenue into institutions of higher learning. Just pioneering that program, getting that out, going to law school, and just doing whatever else God tells me to do.
Minister, CEO of a nonprofit, future criminal defense attorney, student, but the most important title probably is father. You have another daughter on the way. Tell us
Yes.
about that.
Yeah, I have a little one on the way, third daughter, so I guess I'm officially a girl dad. And everybody keeps asking me, oh, you don't want a son? I didn't know you can pick those things. But I think that being a father of daughters has actually helped me to find more parts of myself, right? And like this guy that can go into the community and just cry because he sees someone in need, that was helped by my daughters. That sensitivity doesn't really come from masculinity. It comes from some, in a way, femininity, right? Women are more known to be those that nurture and look after, right? My daughters, I have to look after and nurture them. So now I'm having another one. I guess more of that spirit is coming up in me. And I'll give you guys a secret. Her name is Madison. And I'm going to give her a middle name, my grandmother's middle name, May. But we're going to name it M-A-Y because May is her birthday month. And May it means like miraculous or something like that. So she's a miracle for us.
Wow.
I was supposed to be in prison for another 8 years. So yeah, she wasn't even supposed to be here. Yeah. And the fact that I'm here and not supposed to be here, the judge that sentenced me gave the grace, right? She found grace, seen the rehabilitation I underwent, gave me another opportunity. From that opportunity came my baby that will be here. So we'll love her. And I'm pretty sure the world will as well.
Marcus, congratulations on rewriting your story.
Thank you.
That's a heartwarming story, an inspirational story, and there's a lot more out there like that. Again, thanks to the UNH Prison Education Program and the Yale Prison Education Initiative, which you're a graduate of. There are more students who've graduated with you. Students are going to be coming after as well. So the program works. You are living proof the program works.
Certainly.
All right.
I would do basically anything.
Yeah.
So that's.
You want to run through a wall after
Pretty much. I'm like, Marcus, please just give me some direction.
I think our hosting job here is in trouble, Bruce.
I think-
You could easily slide over and do this.
Yes, I think you should go to law school soon.
I appreciate it.
Marcus, again, congratulations. Thanks for all you do for the
Thank
University
you.
of New Haven and the New Haven community. It's great to see you again, and thanks for being here on Charger 360.
Thank you, guys.
And that'll wrap up another edition of Charger 360, telling the stories of the University of New Haven. For Marcus, for Bruce, I'm J-Dub. See you next time.